The Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center is celebrating this summer with its 45th Annual CineFestival event. It kicks off on Thursday, and one of the feature films is a new documentary about Belle Ortiz. She was a musician and educator who played a vital role in bringing mariachi music to public schools across Texas. So this morning we've got a sneak peek for you. Take a look.
We presented the show to her, and it was her show. It was the show that she had been talking about for years. I didn't realize until that moment that we were planning her goodbye.
Mom fought for women to be included in mariachi, which was absolutely unheard of.
Always remember that there will be one day where you will be on the stage and the young ladies will be looking at you.
From day one, she was met with resistance, and she was told, there's no sheet music for mariachi, you can't write it, you can't teach it, and worse, it was bar music and doesn't belong in our public schools.
The school board gave her an ultimatum, said you can't be teaching that, or you can't be a teacher, in choir.
He was very passionate, and with that passion came the understanding that, I'm gonna have to fight.
We never would have gotten to where we are and where I think mariachi programs are gonna go in our public school systems if it hadn't been for her advocacy early on, her strong advocacy early on.
Instead of just bowing down and surrendering and pulling back, she did a little more than nothing, and that changed the world.
Suena la educación. The story of Belle Ortiz.
And this morning we are joined by actor Jesse Borrego, along with film crew. Gabe Redondo is here, Anthony Medrano, and Baylor Jones. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for coming in. I know, half of you guys work here with us, which is fantastic. And that's my first question. How did you guys come together to bring this film about?
Well, Belle Ortiz was such an incredible human being that it was a no-brainer to really try and tell her story.
Yeah.
And so I think when Gabe, the director, and the family and everybody, the producers, decided to do this, they knew that it was going to be something special. So, they came to me. So it's more about how that got started.
Yeah? Did you guys meet in the hall one day, and then when Jesse was here and this come to be?
We did. With Jesse, we've had a relationship with him for a long time, doing many different things for the Guadalupe, for SAC, for just a lot of different projects. For the Belle story itself, we worked with Anthony on the anniversary last year for Uvalde. So all the mariachis got together to go perform for them. So we followed him, did a special for that, and that's kind of the relationship started. And we worked on a bunch of projects, and that's how it all began. And
here we are. So let's talk about the roles everyone played in this film. Gabe, we'll start with you.
So just kind of bringing it together, like I said, got the idea from Anthony. I knew a little bit about Belle, but I know the in depth of how much she actually did for everybody and what her legacy of how much she provided. So the fact of learning that it was a story that we had to tell.
Yeah.
And I think just being with Anthony, and then also last year, she was falling ill, so it was kind of a time that we had to be there to tell the story itself.
We had made a friendship, working on these. When somebody's in your face with a camera and following you for hours and hours, you kind of get to know them, and you have lunch and talk with them, and that's how I met Baylor and Gabe on the Uvalde story. And then we're talking about, what other stories are important, and I talked about Belle, who was at 91 years old, was still performing at her at her healthcare place, at her hospice place, piano in the lobby for all the residents. Wow. So she was still doing that. So I said, you should go and film her, this little 5 minutes of her just holding court and being the awesome producer and director and performer she is. And it's at that moment when she fell ill. And then that's when I had a conversation with the family, and I had a conversation with the crew here, and I said, if we don't document her story and don't tell it, somebody else will, and they might tell it differently. So we need to do that. So we took it upon ourselves to be those persons.
And Baylor, what about you? Talk about bringing this film to light and working with this great group.
Yeah, so I was the cinematographer, so I was kind of in charge of shooting and kind of laying out the shots and whatnot, which for documentary was a little awkward, because usually day one you kind of want to warm up with the family, but our day one was the final moments, so it was kind of weird just kind of being there, I'm going to film you at your most vulnerable.
It is uncomfortable. Vulnerable is a very good word to use because you are telling the story at a tough time. But what a gift it is to have this out there now for
and to
everybody
honor her
to see.
because really her
Absolutely.
legacy was not, you know, saying goodbye to her. Her legacy is everything that she gave her entire life. And I think that's what's beautiful about a festival like CineFestival. It's able to exemplify a project like this, Suena la Educación, the story of Belle Ortiz, you know? And so I think people then are going to be able to know the legacy that she created for us, not only just in mariachi music, but everything that she did for the community and the culture of San Antonio, you know?
Fantastic.
And that's what CineFestival is all about.
Absolutely. I know you've got another film that is going to be at CineFestival as well. There's so many great films to see.
So
this
many
is a
great films.
huge, important piece of San Antonio.
And we're at the Alamo Drafthouse.
Okay.
What is Cinema Park North.
Yes.
And so that's where we're going to be showing the documentary. But we hope that a lot of these films that are here, especially this one, will continue to be shared with the community and the cultural audience that it's supposed to get to.
Well, thank you guys for coming in this morning and sharing this wonderful story with us. We want to invite everyone to come on out to CineFestival. It is the 45th annual, absolutely amazing. There are 2 screening venues, Alamo Drafthouse Cinema Park North, and then also the Little Carver Civic Center out at the Carver Community Cultural Center. So lots of words there. Go online. You can find when all of these films premiere. Everything you need to know is at GuadalupeCulturalArts.org. Be sure you're following them on Facebook and Instagram as well.